start the meeting. So we have a quorum. Planning board agenda for Thursday, October 21st. Call to order, please. We're good? Okay. I'll entertain a motion for approval of the agenda.
So moved.
So moved. Second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Approval of the minutes. Let me just mention that on page 2, on the second paragraph, the first sentence, I think it says not find a reason. I think should it be find?
It should.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Other than that, any other notations or corrections? Okay. Motion to approve? Okay. First and a second, all those in favor signify by aye, saying aye. Aye. Okay. So we are going to have Kevin talk to us about the proposal that's before us tonight, and that is the special use permit to redo the Scotchman building. So Kevin, would you start off for us, please?
Be glad to, yes, sir. This is, well, it says CUP. I need to cut and paste it a little more clear. That's a SUP, Special Use Permit 2021-06 for the Old Scotchman Retail. The applicant is High Country Manor, LLC. That may throw you off a little bit. That's just the name of the organization. And they're requesting a special use permit to renovate the Old Scotchman at 7815 Valley Boulevard for a retail beer and wine shop. The parking area is being redesigned and the roof is being modified along with changes to the front facade. This property is on general business. It's located in the Water Supply Watershed, or WS4 watershed. And if everyone knows, and for the most part, that Scotchman was a gas station, convenience store, and was purchased by DOT with the 321 widening project. After the road was completed, the property was placed back on the real estate market and then purchased by Britt Medley. For the proposed retail use, 15 parking spaces are required, and the applicant is providing those 15, and one of those being ADA accessible over on the right-hand side of the store. Access to the parking will utilize the existing driveway cuts on Valley Boulevard, but will be limited to one-way, pulling in here and exiting on this driveway. And Patrick Moore, the engineer, has shown 2 parallel spaces here, and those in the delivery hours of the morning would be a good place for delivery, or that there is sufficient room if someone was parked here to provide a place for a truck to get off the road and get out the aisle and circulation. There'll be plenty of room in this site. And so pleased that they could get 15 spaces, and it meets the code based on the size of the building. Through the development of the site, there'll be a reduction in impervious areas. There'll be some additional landscaped areas placed around the building, and some other areas that are currently paved. There'll be additional drainage pipes in the back of the building. There's a little water problem that's been collected and has had some effect on the building, and they're going to pick that up, come around the building, and tie into the DOT drainage up along 321. As far as that's all the time. So the building, they're planning to add a complete roof to the structure. Right now, it's just currently a parapet roof, and they're showing 2 garage doors on each side, here and here, and then this kind of a cupola parapet type of structure to give it some accent. And then this shows kind of what it is today. Everybody's familiar with that. It's been like that for about 20 years, other than the weeds. And in fact, I guess that was taken when DOT was using the site, there's a DOT truck. But that shows the before and after, what they're proposing with the building. Some stone columns to give it a little character and utilizing the existing stone that's there. This old light post is here. That'll be removed. And there'll be some other cleanup and improvements as far as the landscape and the site's going to be a lot more tidy than it is now. And will be, we don't, as staff, we generally don't give an opinion one way or another, but I think I'll give you this opinion. There will be an improvement of what's there today. So that's all I have from the staff report. Patrick Warren's here, the engineer for the project, to answer questions. And Chris Brown, our town engineer, is here as well. And some public here. So be glad to go from here.
Okay, thanks, Kevin. Patrick, do you want to make a presentation, or do you want just to have us ask questions of you?
Just ask questions. I mean, Kevin's, I mean, he's pretty cut and dry.
Okay, so we'll open it up to Sam. Okay, Pete?
No questions, so.
Sam? Bill?
No question.
Joe?
I think I'm good, the way I understand it, because I have to do whatever they're doing, and they're not really asking us for anything. Is that true?
It's true. Not asking anything but permission. There's no variances or any, but now I will point out, I didn't mention this. So, and I probably shouldn't, because, but anyway, so the setback is currently right here for this part of Sunset. And so they're gonna, the footprint of the building is not changing. In fact, the slope of the roof, if I go back over to this one, is probably no change at all in that area where the setback is. And they're just gonna bring that roof up. And that parapet is about right there now, and they're just really going to extend that up as far as the roof structure. Not really changing the footprint at all. And so I don't think that's an issue even worth mentioning, although I mentioned it.
Patrick, curiosity question. What purpose are the garage doors? Is that...
I'm not really sure, sir. I know it's a beer and wine specialty shop, and maybe just to have the outdoor air come in and have people come in, and maybe they have some tastings or something. I really don't know.
Breweries and wineries have features like that.
Oh, okay.
Now, I would ask, is there any intention of making patio space in front of those?
No. The only thing that shows is the existing sidewalk, that there's no patio area proposed. But I've met with the real estate, Bob, what's his name? Novacek?
Bob Novacek, yes.
Yeah, and the architect, I haven't even met the buyer. So this is what's interesting to me. I don't know anything about the interior architecture.
Would it be safe to say that maybe those garage doors are where they would bring in the wine and beer
Probably so.
and supplies and stuff?
So, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
For deliveries, yes.
You can see where the edge of the rock is now, and that would be the same. And then that garage door will be offset. And, they also added two little covered features over those garage doors just to break up the look of that roof. And it's not just one big metal roof, but has some variation to it.
Kevin, is there anything in this as it relates to the 321 visioning study that I guess we did a little bit of work on, and we're thinking about the different, building materials, amount of glass, that kind of thing? I know that there's something formal in there. Just kind of curious your thoughts on how well this fits into that future vision of what we had been discussing. Is there any, or maybe a better way to ask, is there anything that stands out that you think would be outside of the sort of conditions that we had talked about?
Yeah, I don't think there's anything outside it. It's just, I'm hesitant to say much when you're going to have something that's going to be an improvement of what's there. Although, every improvement is not necessarily an improvement from the standpoint of architecturally. Is this, you know, if someone said, well, it's not going to be this Scotchman, but it's going to be something that's a prototype that you wouldn't necessarily find in Blowing Rock, it doesn't have that look, that would not be what we're asking for people to submit. But I think this is pretty much in line with that flavor of the Blowing Rock look, trying to take the existing stone and add some other features, the columns that would be complementary to that without tearing the building down and starting over. I think they've made a good effort to that. If the color of roof matches some of the stone a little bit, as you can see the actuals right in front of the truck, it's got a little bit of black rock in there, dark brown. So the brown or something very similar. I mean, they may not go with exactly this brown. They might have something maybe a little lighter, not much, but very complementary. And that's a lot to say, but I think it's an improvement. And I think it's in concert with what we did with the Valley Boulevard study.
Thanks.
Okay, any other questions from,
Is this going to just be retail? No consumption?
Retail, I mean, so let's say it'd be high volume traffic, retail. If beer and wine doesn't sell, then it could be something else along those lines, some type of, go and pick up type of retail stuff. And it would still be in that category, so they wouldn't need any other approval if they were approved for retail. If it lasted a couple of years and they said, look, we can do better selling something else that's still within that use category, we would approve that.
so they wouldn't have to come back to?
No. They're making the changes to the building and the parking area and changing the use from convenience store. Convenience store has a different use category and parking requirement. So if it's something that requires more parking, then they wouldn't be allowed to do that.
Okay, is there anybody from the public that would like to speak? Okay, if you'd come up and state your name and address.
I'm going to keep my mask on unless
Please, so we can hear
tell
you.
me you can't hear me. Okay.
Yeah, it'd be better if you
Okay.
took it off.
Hello, my name is Joanne Mitchell. It's been a long time, Kevin, since I've been here to see you.
Good to see you.
But I'm glad to see you guys. I live around the corner from this building, and I have some questions, and I'm not sure, because it's been 10 years, I guess, since we were building a museum, that I've been to planning board. I'm not sure that they should be asked here, or if I should wait until we have the town council meeting that acts on your decision. So you tell me, Kevin, as I ask these questions, whether or not this is the right place. I'm glad Sam asked the question about the 321 study, because I also wondered that. That was a vision kind of, there weren't some concrete specifics as I remember, but I agree that this is certainly an improvement, and I hope that it is when the final decisions are made, it does stay within the Blowing Rock look that we all enjoy and like. I'm wondering about things like hour of delivery of goods, trash removal, building repairs. The roof currently is falling in on the back, so maybe totally replacing the roof will take care of that. I wondered about the gas tanks that were in front of the Scotchman. Are they still buried there? Have they been removed? Removed. They've been removed, okay. And And landscaping. There's that big stone wall that is right there beside the building. It's not, you can't see it in the pictures, but I wondered if there were any plans for that, if they're going to put any kind of welcome to Blowing Rock or any kind of mural or advertisement. Are they going to use that wall in any way? Those are sort of my questions, and they're more to do with a nearby resident, homeowner, the kinds of things I would be interested in. I know, and maybe some of you can help me with this, the ABC store has crack of dawn delivery, and I wondered if that would be the case with this. Does anybody know? And
Well, I'm in a restaurant business.
You're
I get
right-
beer
you're nearby.
And wine delivered. Them guys ain't there.
say that
Coming
again?
in the late afternoon, they don't even get out of where they're coming from at the time you're talking.
Okay, so they don't come at 5:30 in the morning?
No.
Okay,
Well, that hasn't been my experience.
okay,
I mean, they're going to be restricted
okay.
by the noise ordinance if there's a problem with deliveries, but typically, they're going to be there at 7, 8, 9.
During delivery hours. What about trash, Kevin? Where are they going to put trash? Is that shown on the?
Here's waste rollouts with screen
On the side.
right there.
Okay.
And based on what they're not proposing a dumpster,
They're not,
no, just rollouts.
because there's a lot of trash with beer and wine, a lot of cardboard, recyclable, a lot of recyclable trash. So,
Yeah, that's where they're showing to put it.
okay. And I was interested in your comment about changing the use, because I was surprised that beer and wine was selected, since we have beer and wine at Food Line, we have beer and wine at the market, we have a lot of opportunities to purchase beer and wine. I don't know who the target audience is for this property. Do you all have any thoughts about that? Who are they hoping to entice to come in?
All people that drink beer and wine in this town.
That are driving, well, they've got other options that would seem to be more convenient, that people that are driving from Charlotte, maybe are driving from the south, because otherwise they'd have to switch around, and are they thinking that kids from App are going to come over here and buy beer and wine? I mean, I guess,
It used to be right across the street.
yeah.
They're probably,
Well,
I mean, the owner would have to answer those
That's- I know.
questions. But those are free market questions, like,
Okay,
if they feel like they can make it, if not, they'll sell something else.
that's right. Well, I was interested in your comment.
Yeah, if everyone was successful selling beer and wine, I guess they feel like that they could be that way too. It's a permitted use in general business. It doesn't, we don't, from a town's perspective, we don't get into you can or cannot sell this.
Oh, no.
It's about condition. So if it's successful, or if it's not successful, that's not the town's role.
Right.
We want to make sure that it meets the code,
Okay,
and it does with this respect. Then I did mention something about if it switches to a convenience store. It's the same, it's in a separate use category, but the parking calculation is the same. So it's one space for 200 square feet, so it would be the same.
and do I understand that the owner also is the person that bought the property that's going to become a coffee shop?
The owner of the property is, but the applicant is someone else that's going to lease the property.
The beer and wine is going to be leased?
Yeah.
Purchase.
They're going to buy it? Okay, so this LLC is planning to.
So it would not be related owners at that point,
Okay, so it's two separate businesses, totally.
and owners.
And owners, okay. Okay. Well, thank
You
you.
had a question about roof repair, well, they're going to tear that off.
The old roof's coming off, good,
They're going to rebuild the whole roof.
okay.
Trash, landscaping, they're showing landscaping in front. These little bushes and tree, they got a tree here, and one right here.
And landscaping is an improvement.
Yes, there's not much there right now.
And do you have any idea about the wall, you know, the wall I'm talking
It
about?
won't be a mural as of this point,
And it
unless
won't-
unless they propose something to the town council.
And can it be used for advertising?
No,
Okay, it would be, what the sign ordinance would
sign
apply.
ordinance would dictate that.
Would apply. Okay, okay. Thank you very much. Thank you for the work you all do for the town.
What was that?
Isn't it DOT property, the wall?
No. No, I mean, the property behind it, up here, that wall is part of this property. And then you got the end of Cornish Road, and then there's another little segment of property. Is that being sold too, up on Cornish?
No, the whole piece, he's actually keeping the little piece on Cornish, according to the documents. He'll keep the piece on the end of Cornish, and he's selling everything in that wall back this way.
Okay. There's a little piece up there at the end of Cornish near where Wellington's was.
Yeah, there was
It's isolated, it's a wall, yeah. So that part's not being considered, but the wall is right here, Bill. It's just edge
All
of,
remains, that's a board-in-place retaining wall, it's not going.
It's not what? It's not going anywhere?
No, that board.
And it goes with this property?
Yeah,
Okay.
but that's part of, really, it's part of Cornish Road to hold up the
Yeah.
road. It's not going.
yeah. Okay.
Okay. Anybody else? Yes, would you like to speak? Please come up. Name and address, please.
Martha Thompson, 144 Mayview Rock Road, Blowing Rock. I just have two quick questions. Kevin, I think I heard you say earlier that it's a specialty wine and beer place, and I wondered if that might be more like a Peabody's, or is it just
They just,
unlike what might be at Food Line?
I don't know. That'd be a question for the real.
The answer to that is yes.
It
But
would be a
I
specialty.
don't want to compare, I don't want to,
Yeah.
you put a name on another store, I wouldn't say that. I would just say it's specialty, it's not like Food Line.
My other question is there just one way in and out, unlike the ABC store, which has an entrance and an exit separate? There's just one way in and out of this
No.
building?
Well, it's just one way in, one way out. The stop light is down here.
Walking, entering the building.
Oh, walking in?
You know how the ABC store has one way in and then you exit over here, out of the building?
No, it's just going to be the front door.
I'm pretty sure it's just a front door.
Front door, go in there.
Okay, that's my question.
Okay, thank you
But
very
I guess
much.
if they had the garage doors open and you wanted to walk in, I don't know how they're going to do that, but otherwise you just go in the front door.
Okay, anybody else from the public that wants to talk? If not, I'll entertain a motion to close this public part of the session and get into a discussion. So is there a motion to close?
So moved.
Somebody, okay? All those in favor? Aye. Okay. Yeah, I think, Sam, you were? And Bill. Okay, so, Sam?
I like it. I think it's, like Kevin said, it's an improvement. I mean, that building's been sitting vacant now for how long? It's also, like they just did all that work on the other side of the street, the town did, right, to make it look nicer there with an entrance, and then you have a building that has weeds that are 15 feet tall and a parking lot that's all messed up. So I think as long as it, fits all the town requirements, which it seems like it does, I think it'll be nice to have. So.
Okay. Pete?
Looks just like a no-brainer. It's going to be better than it was.
Okay. Mike?
Echo what Peter said, that's, at the time that Scotsman was built, it was sort of state of the art for what it was, and we've probably changed our sensibilities about what goes on the bypass since it was built. This is an attractive, it may not be the thing that we would say if we wanted to design something from the beginning, but it's clearly, I'll use Kevin's, an improvement for the visual of the bypass. I'm not concerned about the retail. To echo again, Kevin, whatever is in there will rise and fall on its economic viability.
Okay, thank you, Mike. Sam? Okay, Bill?
I'm glad to see it being used.
Okay.
Good
Joe?
with it. I'm good with it.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion to approve it then.
I move that we approve it.
Okay, second. Any further discussion? Okay. Sam? Oh, okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Approved.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks for coming.
So, moving on, other business, Kevin?
Yes, I want to introduce somebody, Brian Johnson. He's our new zoning officer, and he's got a lot of got a lot of experience. Worked for Boone for 17 years, and I've known Brian longer than that, probably 20 years anyway, at least 20. And he's going to be a good fit for us. We've had a staff of 3 since at least the 80s, and council approved this position in this year's budget. And Brian has a lot of good background in horticulture, and the things that he did in Boone was erosion control, stormwater, floodplain, grading. He has a good background. He's going to do a lot of our zoning permits and sign permits and things like that just to get started. So glad to have Brian Johnson. And I think he'll be a good addition. And he's still learning the town, but he picks up real quick, and glad to have him.
Okay, good. Welcome aboard, Brian.
Welcome, Brian.
Glad to be here. Hope to continue to improve.
All right, thanks. Any other updates? What's the Rainy Lodge doing?
Well, we're issuing a building permit probably tomorrow. They've paid their availability fees this week, and so looking to hold a pre-construction meeting with them, and they're trying to break ground in the next 2 weeks.
What about the bond thing?
They'll submit the bond too. They've got it prepared. It's just a matter of getting it in before we start grading, but they're ready to roll.
Okay.
They're excited about it too. They're excited. They've got all their funding, and it's going to be a major project.
All right. Any other projects coming?
Well, we got next Wednesday, you received an email about the hotel plan for Pine and Laurel. And so there'll be a neighborhood meeting in here at 5 o'clock on next Wednesday, the 27th.
Right.
Meet with Steve Hetherington and his team just to discuss kind of what he's doing. And that's kind of all that's on the agenda right now. That's moving ahead. And you know, it's tough to work, but they're doing it, and they're making progress out here on the Bass Lake sidewalk with all the traffic that's going on. I know it's a pain for everybody, even for them that are working, shuttling people around their construction site. But they're doing a good job, and they're making good progress.
Is there any completion date on that?
I wouldn't speculate. I don't. I hope by winter. Certainly hope so. As you've seen, I think they've done a lot of sidewalk pouring in the last week or so. You know, coming out of the ground takes a lot of time, and retaining walls and utilities are tying in. But it's hard to work on the edge of a U.S. highway, as you can imagine.
Sure.
All the dynamics of that, traffic control, and everybody, you know. I'm impatient too. You know, I need to get where I'm going to, but they've been good. They've done a good job.
Any questions of Kevin from any of you? Okay.
Anything afoot on the hardware store property?
Nobody. They've been contacting me, but they haven't moved forward with anything. They're trying to get maybe a different type of tenant. It's not for me to say, but I think the hardware store is a valuable piece here in town. You know, I don't know if it would work to put a hardware store down in Bob Lovern's building, but it sure would be good to have something.
I agree with that.
You know, I've bought a lot of stuff. I know everybody's probably purchased something out there. Yeah, it may not be ideal in that location, but I think it's worked. I don't think there's been a whole lot of problems in that neighborhood, but to not have a hardware store makes it tough.
Yeah.
For, you know, for convenience, having to go back to either Three Rivers or go back to Lowe's and pick up something.
What's on the agenda for the November meeting? We're going to have one?
It would be that hotel.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, so in other words, transition right from that into the planning board, okay.
That's right. Yeah, so that meeting is on the 18th.
Okay. All right, if there's nothing else to talk about, nobody has any other comment, entertain a motion to close.
I'll make it.
Okay?
I'll give it a close.
Okay, all in favor? Aye. Thank you very much, everybody.